Okay, good morning, folks. This is Christy Park, Executive Director of the Texas Digital Library. Welcome, everyone, to the April TDL Forum. We have a small group today. We have a lot going on this week with the TLA conference going on in Austin, and we saw some of our colleagues there yesterday. But we appreciate you all joining us for some updates about what's going on within the TDL universe. As I said, I'm Christy Park. I'm joined by Courtney Muma, our Deputy Director, and Leah DeForest, our Communications Strategist, along with a couple of special guests who will present some information, and we'll introduce them a little bit later. A couple of the usual reminders before we get started. If you have questions at any time, please feel free to use the chat window to ask those. You also have the ability to download the slides from this presentation in the Files pod in the bottom of the screen. And as I mentioned, we are recording this, so you'll be able to access it on the TDL YouTube channel later on. We're going to follow our usual agenda, starting with some updates from me and then service and project updates. And then we'll have some more community-focused announcements. We'll end the forum with an open floor for Q&A. All right, so first off, we're really pleased to let you know to keep an eye out for an email coming from us later this week announcing a new partnership with Pressbooks, which is an open source platform for creating and hosting open educational resource textbooks created on your campus. With a Pressbooks EDU network, you can, or faculty can use it to create and showcase open textbooks that they're creating, adapting, and adopting. Beyond streamlining the process of formatting books and multiple outputs, Pressbooks EDU plans offer special educational features, enterprise-level support and training, and the potential for integration. So with this partnership, TDL members, regular members, will save 30% on Pressbooks EDU Silver and Gold book production networks. So if you're interested in this, keep an eye out for that email, and Leah's going to have some more information at the end of the presentation today to get more information. We have some opportunities for that coming up. Secondly, just wanted to mention that I this week attended the 2019 Scholarly Communications Symposium at UNC Greensboro. That was on Monday. And I represented TDL here on a panel on data and infrastructure with Saeed Chaudhary from Johns Hopkins University Libraries and Jason Jones from the Guilford County Data Services Unit. This Scholarly Communication Symposium was focused on the impacts of digital scholarship, how those impacts are dependent on the infrastructure underlying such efforts, and TDL knows a thing or two about providing shared infrastructure. So it was a great meeting. We talked a lot about how strong and persistent organizational as well as technical systems are necessary to undergird those digital scholarship efforts and make them sustainable. There's a link here on the slide to the symposium website, and I believe the presentations, including videos of the sessions, will be made available in the coming weeks. I also wanted to point your attention to a report that has been released from Spark. Very recently, they released a public version of a landscape analysis that they commissioned that provides a lot of insightful information and analysis on the trend of commercial acquisition of critical infrastructure for our institutions. In particular, some of the precipitating events that led to them commissioning this analysis are Elsevier's acquisitions of a number of firms like BPress, and others that are part of the digital library landscape that we inhabit. This report offers an analysis of how those trends pose serious concerns for our institutions and where there are opportunities for us to support open infrastructure and open content. The public version of this report is available on the Spark website. It's been deposited in the LIS Scholarship Archive, and it seeks to provide important context as decisions are being made about critical scholarly and library infrastructure. So I encourage you to take a look at it. It's really interesting and very informative. Last week I also, last week I also represented TDL at the annual DuraSpace Member Summit in St. Louis. It was held at CNI. And this is a meeting we attend every year as platinum contributors to the DSpace project, which DuraSpace has stewarded for a number of years. This was actually the last meeting of its kind as DuraSpace prepares to merge with another community organization, Lyrasis, later this summer. So I don't know if this member summit will continue. It certainly won't continue in its current form. It was a good meeting, and one of the things that happens at this meeting is there are breakout sessions of the 3 DuraSpace projects that DuraSpace oversees. Those are DSpace, which we contribute to, Fedora, and Vivo. I serve on the DSpace leadership group and attended the DSpace breakout sessions, and I'll just really briefly report out from those conversations a few things, but we'll also note that we'll have more discussion of some of this at TCDL next month as part of the DSpace Users Group pre-conference. So if you're attending TCDL and want to know more, that'll be a good opportunity to have more discussion about it. But there was a lot of discussion of DSpace 7, the new and big new version of DSpace that is currently under development. And just a note on timing with DSpace 7, they're saying that there will be a preview release of DSpace 7 available imminently this month or early next month, with a beta release in late summer. So we'll be expecting opportunities to really test and provide feedback to the DSpace development community in late summer on the DSpace 7 release, and our DSpace user group community should be, expecting requests from us to help with that. Other just quick updates from that meeting. DSpace is very healthy financially as a project. There's been significant growth in financial contributions from DSpace users worldwide, particularly from European and Latin American users, where DSpace is very widely used. And that European participation and just non-US participation generally has really strengthened some I think good directions with the platform. For instance, there's been a big push to make DSpace GDPR compliant, improving its privacy mechanisms, to align DSpace with the core guidelines for next generation repositories, and to create better, more robust data model for DSpace so that it can support other entities like faculty profiles. So that is all underway with DSpace 7 development. We're excited about the direction that it's taking right now. So more on that as it develops, and we'll have a longer discussion about it at TCDL. Okay, so we are well on our way to reaching our goal of visiting each of our regular member institutions this spring and summer. We've been providing regular updates on that, and since we last talked, we visited, I think, 4 member campuses: Trinity in San Antonio, UT Southwestern Medical Center, and UT Dallas in Richardson. We're receiving really important feedback and input on our plans for the next year and beyond, and learning about ideas for more coordinated collaboration across our group of member institutions. So I really appreciate everyone's hospitality and willingness to talk with us and help us learn about your needs and what's going on within your libraries and institutions. And it's been really fun to travel around. I think our next group of visits will be in South Texas. We'll be going to our members in Laredo, Corpus, and Edinburgh in just a couple weeks. We look forward to that. A couple of things about TCDL, or a couple of more things about TCDL. We hope you saw our announcement last week about the TCDL program. It is available on our website. We are really excited about it. Leah's going to paste a link into chat for that. We want to especially invite you to consider attending this year's Leadership Academy. This is a new event that we're hosting. We still have a few spots left and would love to see you take advantage of this important opportunity to assess and build leadership skills. There are discounts for TDL members. You can register on our website. And this is taking place a day before the pre-conference. So, you know, typically we've had a pre-conference day of workshops and then 2 days of regular conference sessions. This Leadership Academy is taking place the day before all of that happens, so on May 20th, and it'll be an all-day event. It's going to be really exciting, and we hope you'll be able to attend, or consider who in your library would really benefit from this opportunity. We also have a lot of great pre-conference sessions on the regular pre-conference workshop day, and we want to ask you, if you're planning to attend, if you want to attend any of these events, we're asking you to make sure you register, because there is limited space. It's free with your conference registration. There are no additional charges for these workshops, but we do need you to register for them so that we have a head count. And there are some really important and good things happening that day. Leah's going to post, or she has posted, a link to these events. We have a LaTeX for Beginners workshop. We have a Vireo 4 workshop. So this is the first opportunity to get some training on the new version of Vireo that's coming out in the summer and fall. We have a workshop on querying and accessing scholarly literature metadata using our Crossref, our ORCID, and our OADOI. And then we have, let's see, I mentioned already the TDL DSpace Users Group pre-conference session, and then we have a OER workshop called Give It Away Now, OERX, which is a free platform to distribute OER textbooks. So a lot of variety and in our workshop offerings this year, and we hope you'll be able to take advantage of one or several of those. All right. We are now going to move into services and projects updates, and I'm going to turn it over to Courtney to start us off, and then I'll be popping back in a little bit later. Courtney?
Thanks, Christy. Hi, everybody. This is Courtney. The first thing I wanted Thank you. The first thing I wanted to talk to you about is something very exciting, and I hope you've seen an email about this in the last week. I just sent out a save the date for Web Archiving Texas. This one-day event will be an opportunity to build a community around web archiving in Texas, bring people together to share skills and resources, and amplify our work that impacts the national and international web archiving community. Join Texas Digital Library at Baylor University in Waco on Wednesday, November 6th, 2019, to begin this exciting collaboration. We're currently developing a program that asks attendees to bring their own expertise and topics to share in the morning, with the objective then to use the afternoon to discuss the most substantial challenges that emerge and set our intentions as a group for moving web archiving practice forward in Texas together. So think about what web archiving projects you're currently doing or planning that you can talk about at this conference. Think about even if you have web content that requires archiving but no program in place or a real way forward, we want to know about it and we want to be able to share and find out what people want to do in Texas. We'll open up registration sometime after TCDL, so relatively soon, and of course we'll let you know in a few ways. I want to thank the Web Archiving Texas Planning Committee with folks from Baylor University, Texas A&M, TDL, UNT, UT Austin, Stephen F. Austin University, Texas State, and UT Rio Grande Valley. Everyone who's helping us plan is a volunteer, and again, I'm extremely grateful to all of y'all and looking really forward to this. So now I'd like to hand it over to Kara Long, joining us from Baylor University.
Good morning. Thank you, Courtney. The Texas Digital Libraries DPLA Metadata Working Group has come together to provide guidance on preparing digital collections for aggregation through a Texas service hub, with the intent that these digital collections will be shared through the Digital Public Library of America, also known as DPLA. Over the past year, the DPLA Metadata Working Group has worked closely with TDL through the development and pilot of a prototype harvester and developed a metadata application profile for the Texas Aggregation Hub that is now being released for community comment, and the document is available at the link here. The comment period will be open through the 2019 Texas Conference on Digital Libraries, the TCDL, and will close on Monday, May 27th of 2019. We encourage you to take part in the community comment process and to provide feedback on the metadata guidelines. The information gathered from the community will be used to make sure that these guidelines best serve the Texas institutions that want to have their digital collections aggregated into the Texas Hub and harvested into DPLA. You can provide comment by taking a short survey. It should take about 15 minutes to complete, and your answers will be kept confidential, just read and shared among the TDL DPLA Metadata Working Group to help us revise and review the guidelines before they are released. After the period of public comment has closed, TDL will publish and promote the use of the Texas Metadata Application Profile among contributing institutions and provide guidance on implementation.
Awesome. Thank you, Kara. Okay. I think we're going to move on to some additional service updates, but before I do that, I just want to thank again the DPLA Metadata Working Group for their work on this and encourage everybody to take a look at the metadata application profile and provide feedback through that survey that Kara mentioned. Just a quick update on some service-related work that's going on. We have, as I mentioned at the last forum, a pilot testing project going on right now for OJS3 journals. We have a pilot group testing out that migration and upgrade work that we're planning to do with our 60-plus other journals through the coming year. That pilot test will end this month, and then we'll begin planning based on feedback from the pilot project for additional upgrades. So more on that definitely at the next forum. We are also planning updates to our hosted DSpace repositories that include some performance improvements and bug fixes that resolve a few outstanding issues. So if you're on the DSpace users group email list, you've already heard a lot about this. We have the improvements running on our training DSpace repository and have called for testing through the end of this week. So if you would like to check these out, let us know, and we'll make sure you have access, appropriate access to the repository. There are a couple of improvements I'll mention, a couple of them having to do with the media player in DSpace or in our hosted DSpace. So for a while, the way thumbnails have been generated from items that have media files in them has been a little wonky. It's been that way, I think, since we upgraded to DSpace 6. We've included a fix for that, or a change to the way thumbnails get generated for media files. And there are a lot of different scenarios in the testing collection in our training DSpace that you can look at to see how thumbnails are going to get generated going forward. Basically, the media file has to be designated as the primary file for the embedded media player to appear as the thumbnail. Additionally, with these improvements and this deployment, video files that have captions or subtitles will work correctly in the embedded media player, so the captions or subtitles will play as long as that attached caption file is in a web VTT format. So there's more information about that in the email we sent out to the DSpace users group. If you did not get that email for whatever reason, do let us know at info@tdl.org. We'll be happy to provide additional documentation, more information about that. The other thing that's not really mentioned here that is coming with this improvement is a fix to OAI PMH harvesting. In our DSpaces, there have been some issues since the upgrade to DSpace 6 with harvesting issues. So if you've been experiencing those, we'll want to retest harvesting with your repository after we deploy so that you can make sure things are working appropriately. So the plan is to complete the testing this week, and we'll be preparing to, we've been mostly getting good feedback, and thank you to those of you who have let us know how things are working for you as you've tested this. Assuming we continue to get positive feedback from these changes, we will make plans to start deploying these on hosted instances starting next week, and we'll let you know through the DSpace users group and individually with individual repository managers as we start deploying those improvements. One more piece of DSpace news. We mentioned, I think, at the last forum that our affiliate member, UT Dallas, has upgraded their membership to a regular membership in Texas Digital Library, which we're really excited about. And as part of that, we have been bringing their self-hosted DSpace repository into our infrastructure and are completing that migration and launched this week. In fact, today we're putting the finishing touches on that. So we will have the UT Dallas repository called Treasures at UT Dallas hosted within the TDL infrastructure, and we're really excited to be wrapping up that work today, or at least reaching a milestone with it today and continuing to support that repository going forward. All right, I think that's it for service updates, and I'm going to hand it over to Courtney again for a few community updates.
Thanks, Christy. I'm back. So I just wanted to remind everybody that proposals for NDSA's Digital Preservation 2019 and the DLF 2019 Forum are all due Sunday, April 28th at 11:59 p.m. Eastern. So that's coming up really fast. As a reminder, digital preservation is the major meeting and conference of the NDSA. This year I'm vice chair of the conference, which is led as chair by Sybil Schaefer of UCSD in Chronopolis. Digital preservation is open to members and non-members alike, so you don't have to be a member of NDSA to go. And it highlights theory and practice of digital stewardship and preservation, data curation, the digital object lifecycle, and related issues. And we're holding this 2019 2019 meeting, of course, in partnership with the host organization, the Digital Library Federation. We encourage proposals related to this year's theme, Critical Junctures. I also want to give a little bit of an update about the Software Preservation Network. After several months of intense development, the Software Preservation Network announced that Scaling Software Preservation and Emulation as a Service Infrastructure, or EC, beta has been released. In order to celebrate, SPN is kicking off a 4-week series of weekly blog posts that takes a deeper dive into a major aspect of the beta release, including development, documentation, deployment, and testing. You can find out more about EASY on their website, which I believe Leah is posting in our chat right now. So I encourage you to do so and continue to follow the project. If you have any questions for the project team, please do contact the EC Community Outreach Lead, Jessica Meyerson, at jessica@educopia.org. So we also want to ask you to go ahead and check out UT Austin's first annual report on the Texas Data Repository, developed by Jessica Tree Logan, which reports on their activities in the TDR consortium since its launch in 2017. Some of the highlights from their first 2 years include many upgrades to Dataverse, currently at version 4.94. The TDL developed DB Uploader, which is a bulk uploader tool that can be used with any instance of Dataverse. The TDR Steering Committee organized a hit webinar series, which is still going, on research data management, and a series of how-to videos as well for using the Texas Data Repository. TDL also, with input from the TDR Assessment Working Group, developed a method for sharing usage statistics. In total, including unpublished material, UT Austin researchers have uploaded 77 dataverses, which are the collections in Dataverse, 430 data sets, and in those data sets, nearly 7,000 files. Jessica is going to actually join us at next month's forum to talk more in depth about how she created this report and how she plans to share it for outreach purposes. We want to thank Jessica for sharing the report with everyone and want to invite any members who have created works like this to please send them our way so that we can share your impact as well. Thanks again, Jessica. Another reminder that TDL and the Texas Data Repository Steering Committee have been presenting a webinar series showcasing topics in research data management and hosted by Dataverse experts in academic libraries throughout North America. The next webinar is on April 23rd and will feature Jonathan Crabtree, who is the Assistant Director for Cyber Infrastructure at the Odom Institute of UNC Chapel Hill, and he will discuss remote storage for Dataverse and private and sensitive data storage. All of the webinars in the series are recorded and captioned. We're publishing the series on our YouTube channel, and you can find them in a playlist by clicking on the link that Leah has provided. And speaking of research, I'm excited to introduce Pippin McDonald, Outreach and Instruction Librarian at West Texas A&M University.
Hi, good morning everyone. So this past month, in March, WTNU, West Texas A&M University, had our 14th annual faculty poster session and research fair, which we were very happy to host Leah at as one of our featured speakers. This is also my first year helping run the event with my supervisor, Kelly Hoppy, as the previous person has retired. So we spent a lot of time trying not to break the presentation. The poster session gives faculty the opportunity to show off what they've been doing, show their research, and learn what their fellow faculty have been doing. And for a lot of new faculty, it's an opportunity to sort of practice how to present at larger conferences. We had a great turnout with 36 posters by 43 faculty members who collaborated with 42 people who weren't WT faculty, with 15 departments represented from all 6 of WT's colleges. We filled up our entire space. We didn't have room for anybody else. It was great, and we had a great turnout. One of the posters was co-authored by Mary Rausch, who's one of our librarians who's been working a lot on DSpace. We're going to be encouraging our faculty to use DSpace more and potentially reaching out to this year's participants to go, hey, do you want to put your posters up on DSpace? And really being aggressive about it because it's such a great service that they might not realize they have. And Leah came to talk with us for our meeting with TDL in general, and also to speak with faculty and let them know the resources that they have available through Texas Digital Libraries, DSpace, Vireo, OER resources that they might not be aware that they have.
Okay, awesome. Thanks so much, Pippin. And I had a blast up in Canyon, and it was so amazing to see all of the great research coming out of West Texas A&M. Good morning, everyone. This is Leah. I do realize we're at our usual end time, so I am going to blaze through these next slides. A reminder that our next webinar in our Getting Started with OER webinar series is going to be June 18th. It's going to feature presentations on how to sustain OER on your campus. Got a link in chat here to register. Next up, please save the date for May 16th. Christy mentioned our new partnership with Pressbooks, and Pressbooks and I have been working together on an introductory webinar that will be just for TDL members on May 16th. We're going to send out an invitation to register. It'll be free, of course, but this webinar will talk about why Pressbooks can be helpful to you as you ramp up your OER initiatives, and then also show you a demo of how the platform works. So like I said, this is going to be just for TDL members. The webinar will be geared towards librarians, but we plan to offer a second kind of repeat webinar in the fall, and we'll encourage everyone to invite faculty, instructional personnel, anyone else on campus who may benefit from learning more about Pressbooks. Another couple of free webinars, and I'm going to go ahead and let you read the title, and I'm going to grab links to share. These are, I think, really important and free trainings that are available for all of us. I'm particularly excited about the ACR Well webinar on the 23rd, but I also just found out about the Grant Space webinar on Friday. So I do hope that you take advantage of these free and timely trainings. And then finally for me, we really had a great time visiting with folks at TLA. We're so happy to have this awesome conference in our hometown. And thanks to everyone who attended our member meetup downtown last night. They're not here because they're actually at the conference right now. And for those of you who might be going to the conference still, we would want to invite you to attend a special session that features TDL senior software developer Nick Woodward and fellow members from UT Austin, University of Houston, and Texas State. The session is going to be tomorrow, Thursday, 10:30 to 11:30, and it's called Supporting the Open Source Ecosystem. So if you are in town for TLA, we really do hope you can stop by. And then before I sign off and hand over to Christy, I do want to ask if you have a second to take our member forum survey. I just pasted it into chat. We really like to have these kind of office hours for you. We want it to work for you, so we want to hear how it's working for you. So take a second to answer our survey. And that is it for me. Thanks.
Thanks, Leah. And that's it for all of us today. But we do have we are 4 minutes over, but we at TDL don't have anywhere to be for a few minutes. So we still have time for your questions or comments or announcements if anybody has anything they'd like to ask. And you can use the chat window to ask those if you'd like to. Okay, looks like we're good. Thank you all again for being here today. It was great talking to you and sharing everything that's going on. As you can tell, we have too much going on to fit into a 30-minute window. So we'll call it a meeting and see you again next time, same time next month, and hope we'll see you in between somewhere too. Thanks everybody. Have a great day.